When Diddy's arrest hit the headlines last September, Katt Williams saw an opportunity. He went to Instagram stories, reshared an AI mashup of Puffy's mugshot on Wesley Snipes in New Jack City, and captioned it, "Diddy about to snitch on everybody." That joke exploded. Online fans everywhere were saying the same thing. If anyone's going to flip to save himself, it's going to be Diddy. But Katt didn't stop at a one-off punchline. Remember Katt's old podcasts, where he casually dropped names like Tyler Perry, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, and Ludacris at the time? It sounded like petty personal attacks, but some of those exact names, Jay-Z, Aaron Hall, Harv Pierre, and more, appear in the actual court documents against Diddy Katt. Wasn't just joking around, he was planting clues, and now we're about to connect the dots between stand-up comedy and a federal scandal club. Shay Shay, yeah.
Shay Shay, yeah. I was trying to do something there that hadn't been done. I thought that I had figured out the algorithm mathematically, and I thought that I could show that. And when I wrote it out to kill the careers of the people I was talking about, right? But it was so vicious that I erased all of the knockout blows and just left the jabs, so that the comic I'm talking about knows that I know your real story. Motherfucker, I'm gonna tell this, but you know what else I know. So, yeah, I was...
Do you want to tell any of those stories now?
Well, I'm saying... Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. T.G. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
So Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of a homosexual relationship with Diddy. So he is the person that controls Diddy, that Lucien Grange was aware of these parties, that Universal Music Group was aware of these parties. Essentially, that Diddy is the thug and the gangster working on behalf of Lucien Grange. They did not know that he was recording them. I mean, when I read through that lawsuit, Rodney made it very clear that he had hidden cameras. And if you are a person like LeBron who says ain't no party like a Diddy party, you got Ashton Kutcher talking about what happens at Diddy parties stays at Diddy parties. And finally you learn via the press that actually Diddy has been collecting evidence on all of you, and you don't know where those tapes are. That will buy your silence for quite some time, because you're hoping that if you keep your head low, you're not going to be revealed as one of these people that was engaged in some of these acts, whether they were heterosexual or homosexual. It doesn't matter. Maybe you're just cheating on your wife and you don't want that to get out into the public. Maybe you were, as Katt Williams described it, in one of the rooms. He said you could just walk around the house. He said this on stage years ago, that you could walk around the house and you would see people engaged in various sex acts. And again, Katt Williams was someone who was dismissed as crazy and dismissed as a drug addict. And it turned out that, or it seems that if these allegations are proven to be true, and I believe they are, then he was telling the truth.
Do you think that like stars and get offered that kind of thing, like to compromise themselves sexually for entertainment?
I was as shocked as anybody about how powerful Harvey Weinstein was at the time that I was meeting with him, and how he could not be told no. You follow what I'm saying?
They'll figure out some way.
Right, so I thought that didn't apply to me, because I don't care about nothing but bitches and good business, right? In these scary situations, I don't even leave it up to me. Like, I'm gonna do what the superhero would do in this part of the movie, regardless.
That's a good way to think about things.
Now Katt started with Tyler Perry on the surface. It looks like a comedian throwing shade when Katt jokes that Perry can't play a man to save his life. But behind the laugh is a fact few people know when Perry was working on his first indie scripts. It was Diddy's team who stepped in. They helped fund his debut movies, arranged premieres in LA and New York, and handed out VIP invites to stars hungry for a preview. Those early boosts aren't in tabloids, but they show up in the fine print diary of a mad black woman Medadia's family reunion. Perry might not admit it, but his launch pad ran through Bad Boy Playbook. I heard that.
It is about that. It is about that because he's the only black man that we already established has $1 billion for making movies. He's the only black man with his own studio, but he's also putting out material where he got a goddamn dress on every year.
Because
every time you turn around, at every iteration of his success, be it the plays that took over and got him popular, be it the shit that he did on TBS, be it the first movies that he did, be it the movies that he does now. So what is his excuse for doing Madea content now?
Because there's an audience for it.
There's an audience for it.
There is an
There's an audience for it.
Tyler Perry told his male actors they're not allowed to consort with me because I saw you at a Diddy party, Tyler. And you were having a glorious time. I spent a lot of time in Miami and I snuck around Star Island quite a bit. I know Christian isn't lying, but I need him to tell me what happened to my friends. And I don't care how long it's been since I talked to them, they will always be my friends. Always. Tim and Durrett and Lamont Rucker were not the same after they went on camera with Tyler Perry. Christian, I think you can tell me why.
The ins and outs of the industry at Diddy's private Atlanta parties, those weren't open parties, they were invite-only nights. Puffy's crew controlled the guest list and handed out the guest passes. Ricky got on that list from there. He worked and talked his way into radio gigs and a hit TV show. Katt said that Smiley only shines in a dress, but the joke cuts deeper. It hints at how Ricky's rise to stardom happened through Big Boy headquarters, long before he ever picked up a mic. You let Ricky. Smiley, sit here.
Smiley, sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday after next, the one I was in. I wish all of America fumbled a bit when that happened. He told everybody, it should have been my role. Everybody on the scene. Why do you think no cast member has ever said anything?
He couldn't have played that role like you. I thought he was.
Sir, no one, why no, he was with KD? He beat up Terry Crews? Why nobody know this story? And Hollywood has never heard this in 100 years. He was so egregious, I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did, it's in my contract. That's why I can't let Ricky Smiley say he was supposed to play Money Mike, because I wrote the words for Money Mike. I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did, it's in my contract.
Why would you put that in your contract, Katt?
That's where he's a believable actor. Him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women, and I believe that the best actor should be in the best role.
But when you reported a long time ago that James, that he mysteriously got sick, mysterious, and we said that allegedly was Diddy. But how do you but when you reported that back then months ago, did you say what was that in your reporting? Yeah, they were saying that Diddy, because Diddy and James Fox were good friends, and they broke up. I mean, they stopped being friends, and they just. And no, I'm telling what they said. They that wait. They that wait on the Lord.
All right, y'all, we're gonna wrap up the house. I Googled you to see what are the questions that people are wanting to know. Is Ricky Smiley married?
No.
Have you ever been married?
I was married.
Oh,
I was married for 12 years.
When?
Man, I was married back.
Did I know you?
Back in the 90s. I think we probably had met and had been around each other, but my ex-wife, we are still close. She's a flight attendant for Delta.
Oh, okay.
And we was married. We was young, And I was married for 12 years.
Wow.
I had a beautiful, she's beautiful.
And y'all broke up after 12 years because?
You gotta start doing comedy, street stuff.
Cedric the Entertainer aren't immune either. Katt accuses Harvey of stealing an old TV idea of his and claims Cedric lifted one of his best jokes 2 decades ago. Those barbs make for great headlines. But the real point is that both men have shaken. Puffy's hand at charity galas funded by Bad Boy, they've hosted events designed to raise millions for education and youth outreach. Each time they thanked Diddy on stage, they solidified their partnership with him, those smiles and fancy charity. Galas give us an inside look at a network of influence few viewers ever see Def Comedy Jam.
So many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up? Shit, I'm nervous as hell right now. Not used to quiet, introspective Katt Williams.
No. Well, let me ask you this. When have you ever seen this many heavy hitters all together at the same time? In the same room. Yeah.
Right. All right, Jen is with me now to talk about another story making headlines today.
Yeah, so this one is actually sparked by these pictures. That's 49-year-old P. Diddy with his hand on his girlfriend's belly. Now, that is 22-year-old Lori Harvey. They're in Cabo. She's, of course, talk show host Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. People are talking about maybe she could be pregnant. You know, he's rubbing her belly a little bit, but...
She's put up some Instagrams, I think, that show some clues. Sushi, right? Sushi, a bad thing for pregnancy.
It could go either way. But then also she posted this picture of green juice, which, you know, why would you want a flatter tummy if you really can't avoid it because you're carrying a child?
Ooh, this is conflicting evidence. Okay. Lori was once actually linked to Diddy's son, Justin.
Okay.
Okay, so they were together and then engaged a couple years ago to a Dutch soccer player. She told Carissa Thompson about how he popped the question.
We were in Malibu. I remember the time. It was 11:30. I thought it was a joke, and then he went in his pocket, and I started shaking.
They split up later on that year. Lori and Sean were actually spotted with her dad, Steve, on a boat in Italy earlier on this summer.
That's all. Well, then that's it. He's given the blessing.
It even reaches into church walls. T. Jake preached at a gospel concert sponsored by Diddy's team. Those crowds saw platinum seats with VIP ropes and press walls that looked like album launches behind the hymns, and sermons sat music execs and influencers. Picked by Bad Boy's PR squad, Katt mentions Jake in passing as one of the big deviant names set to get called out. That line might sound weird, but it explains exactly how Diddy's promotions fuse pop culture and faith, all under one dark, twisted umbrella. Anyway, let's get out, so...
TD Jakes is on that list.
On that list.
And, you know, Katt Williams, I don't know if he's a Christian or not. I don't think he is. His mouth would say maybe he's maybe has faith, but he's bearing fruits of repentance. But that podcast got, well over millions and millions of views because he just blasted the industry. And basically the whole thing is, your career's here. If we give you money and you join in on this debauchery, you join in on this sodomy, you join in on this pedophilia, you join in on these rituals, your career will go from here to here. And that's actually been seen if you look at a lot of different careers, including Taylor Swift's. She actually started rubbing shoulders with P. Diddy a long time ago, and then all of a sudden her career changed.
Now, we also know that TD Jakes is allegedly also a power bottom. And he's a much older man. And they say he's very enthusiastic in his endeavors. What happens when he pops something loose? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because they're mentioning sex workers, but they're not mentioning women. They're mentioning men as sex workers.
Yeah.
Like, is that a thing where, like, there's a website of what? It's just wild to hear, like, you mentioned the
You
normal.
never heard of Grindr?
I personally have not. That is what.
Why don't nobody ever talk about the fact that TD Cakes has an account allegedly on Grindr?
Kevin Hart gets a turn too, as the so-called industry plant Katt says Hart's movies from Ride Along to Night School only move forward after passing through Diddy's circle. Look at the credits, you'll find Puffy's venture arm in the mix sometimes. On soundtracks sometimes and executive producer slots, Hart's stand-up specials landed on platforms where Bad Boy had distribution deals. Those patterns aren't coincidences. They clearly show Hart's path to the top ran alongside Komamis's empire, in exchange for what only Katt knows.
He turned down $50 million 4 times.
No, he didn't.
To protect his integrity and his virgin hole.
No, he didn't. He did that. He did that to say that Kevin Hart took $50 million to unvirgin his hole.
Can you explain a little bit?
No, I just told you what happened with that.
So you don't believe Katt when he says that he turned down $50 million 4
No,
times?
I believe that was a punch at what he did, what Kevin Hart did for that movie Get Hard. He showed y'all what he did. He sucked Will Ferrell's to get hard.
Oh.
Now he's high. Now he's acting all hard. Every picture he just short. He wasn't ready. All that. It's the same thing.
I said it, and this sums it up well. Like you don't entertain the circus, you watch it, right? And when a lion comes out and rides the bike, you don't think about it too hard. You just go, okay, that's crazy. The lion's riding a bike, and then you go home and enjoy the rest of your day. I don't feed into the stuff at all. At the end of the day, it's all entertainment to a certain degree. So you just hope that people can be smart enough and have a tremendous amount of logic to just go and possibly do research or fact check. And if they do, then great. If they don't, then kudos to that as well. I just don't have the time for it. There's too much going on.
In my opinion, one of the ones that affects me the most is Justin Bieber.
Do you have the Kevin Hart one?
Which is odd, Pat, because he gets caught saying that he would wake up next to him and then he changes it and says we would fight off over the Frosted Flakes. Even Kevin Hart is uncomfortable because you're admitting that you were sleeping next to a freaking child. And it's like, I'm tired of hearing all these stories and people just laugh about it. We giggle. Like, this is it right here.
That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause.
Look, pause.
I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was
10 years
a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted
Wake up
Flakes.
Taylor Usher.
He used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
What the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this with me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid.
And then there's Ludacris. Katt makes a huge Illuminati connection when it comes to him. According to Katt, only an organization as powerful as that could land him a $200 million contract. That story feels half myth, half comedy, but the real partnerships speak for themselves. Hits on each other's albums, joint festival sets, and tribute shows for Biggie, where they shared the stage. Those moves hint at a trust built over decades. Katt wraps it in conspiracy talk, but you don't need secret symbols to see their alliance.
Are you related to Luda?
No, so we were both invited to an Illuminati thing. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person they said was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams. I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it.
How much money they give? 200?
Sir, Fast and Furious is on what number right
10.
now?
Did you start to worry any about your own safety and stuff?
Well, what it was that I was attempting to do was impossible. So before I do this interview, there is no Illuminati. It's just a joke. It's just something that crazy people talk about. There's no such thing as our side and God's side. None of that is even real. I gotta come and make it real. So that's why when I said that, nobody came out and went, that's not true, I'm on God's side. If part of the ritual is wearing a dress, then we should be able to look through entertainment and see all of these people being made to wear a dress.
Yeah, you don't see the dog catcher show up every other year.
Like, it's not a thing.
In a nice skirt, or you don't see an electrician
And then there's Ludacris Katt, makes a huge Illuminati connection when it comes to him. According to Katt, only an organization as powerful as that could land him a $200 million contract. That story feels half myth, half comedy. But the real partnerships speak for themselves. Hits on each other's albums, joint festival sets, and tribute shows for Biggie, where they shared the stage. Those moves hint at a trust built over decades. Katt wraps it in conspiracy talk, but you don't need secret symbols to see their alliance. Are you related to a Luda? No. So we were both invited to an
Justin Combs, you've been indicted with your dad. Now, ain't that something, God? Ain't that something? How LeBron, right? And his son will be the first father-son to play a game in the NBA. And P. Diddy and his son will be the first father and son to get indicted and go to federal prison for messing with little boys. Ain't that about something? The apple don't fall too far from the tree, y'all, man. And I tell you all the time, man, you have to watch what you do around your kids because they're watching everything. And in his case, man, he watched what his dad did, and his dad allowed him to do these things with him. But hey, man, he was named in that indictment yesterday with those 120 people. You dig what I'm saying? 25 of them being minors. But that's kind of crazy that a younger man would love a minor. But hey, man, I hope they was using condoms.
About 30 different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say less than 10 minutes ago. We got here even before the crime scene tape came up. So we're just down the hill. If you look up this street where Tony is right now to the right, you'll see one of those Bearcats and law enforcement. And on the other side of those bushes, basically, is that home that is registered to Bad Boy Films.
And then, but how is any of this linked to Diddy and his ongoing legal battle to understand that we need to go back 1 year in March 2024? Federal agents raided Sean Diddy Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami, seizing electronics and documents. In a sexting investigation by September, a grand jury indicted him on racketeering, sex trafficking, and transport charges. Then in December, court filings stunned even the toughest reporters those papers named. Shan Carter Jay-Z accusing him and Combs of drugging and ripping a 13-year-old girl after the 2000 MTV VMAs. In a case like this, obviously you're not making any.
Know that after Don Richard filed her lawsuit against Diddy, he allegedly bombarded his former bandmate Kalena Harper with over 50 calls in one day and reached out a total of 128 times over 4 days. Prosecutors say that these calls were attempts to sway her testimony, part of a broader pattern of trying to gaslight and manipulate witnesses. Can you blame Kalena for distancing herself from the situation? She came under fire for posting that Richard's claims did not align with her experience, and some people criticized her for what it seemed like defending Diddy. Given the pressure, it is understandable that she would want to clarify her stance, especially with Diddy reportedly trying to reach out so persistently. Apologize.
Justin Combs is accused of organizing freak-off parties with underage girls, so serious federal agents handcuffed him at the raid, though he faced no charges.